Bullets fly at the White House, where they landed and who police are looking for.
Got all this stuff twirling around in my head.
What question left Herman Cain confused, and what he says happened in a one-on-one interview with INN. And are you ready for Black Thursday? Stores gearing up to open on Thanksgiving, but one store employee wants to put a stop to that.
But I think the employees are going to be listened to a little bit more.
Your independent news network starts right now. Hello everyone, I'm Mike Mickle. Welcome to INN News. We begin with a manhunt in Washington, D.C. after a bullet shattered a window at the White House. Protective glass stopped that bullet. A second bullet was also found outside the window. It's believed this could be connected to reports of gunfire near the White House on Friday. Witnesses say they heard shots and saw two speeding vehicles in the area. An AK-47 style rifle was also recovered. Police are looking for a man named Ortega Hernandez, who they believe fired those shots. Meanwhile, the president is in Australia, where he announced an expanded American military presence in that country. He's seen here with the country's prime minister. The move comes as China expands its military reach in the Pacific. It also allows the U.S. military to quickly respond to natural disasters in that region.
Our U.S. Marines will begin rotating through Darwin for joint training and exercises. Our Air Force will rotate additional aircraft through more airfields in northern Australia. And these rotations, which are going to be taking place on Australian bases, will bring our militaries even closer and make them even more effective.
This is the president's first visit to Australia as commander-in-chief. Also overseas, new leadership becomes official in Italy, and strange desert patterns are the talk in China. Here's your global news now. Italy officially has a new prime minister. Mario Monti was appointed to the role today. Monti will also take over finance minister duties. He succeeds Silvio Berlusconi, who was forced to resign as Italy fights to bring its huge debts under control. Thousands of Iranian students demonstrated and formed a human chain around a uranium conversion facility to show their support for Iran's nuclear program. The students held banners and chanted slogans. Iran officials have repeatedly said the country's nuclear program is peaceful, mainly to generate electricity to meet its growing energy needs. Take a look at these satellite images, growing circular and grid-like patterns or structures in the desert in China. The network of grids was captured by Google Maps. There's no concise answer on what they are, but could it have something to do with China's growing space program? Or some have suggested alien markings. Then there's the more realistic option that there's simply some kind of military target practice range. And that's your global news now. Well, it's the political meltdown that everyone's talking about, not Rick Perry's infamous debate debacle. This time it's Herman Cain. During an interview in Milwaukee on Monday, Cain was asked about President Obama's handling of Libya. Here's how he handled that question.
So you agreed with President Obama on Libya or not?
Okay, Libya. I got to go back and see. Got all this stuff twirling around in my head.
I had the opportunity to have a one-on-one interview with Herman Cain, questioning what the candidate truly knows about foreign policy.
I do not agree with the way he handled it for the following reason. No, that's a different one.
What happened with that interview?
First, the question was vague. The question was, do you agree with President Obama on Libya? And I stopped and said, specifically in what way?
When you watch it, it is uncomfortable to watch, and people are calling it a meteoric meltdown. What kind of effect do you think it's going to have on your campaign?
I think some people are going to see that as a negative, but most people are going to say, he's human. I don't think it was a meltdown. That entire Q&A session, look at the other 95% of it. I didn't have to pause like I did on that particular one.
Kaine says America needs a strong leader, and he says we don't have one in the White House now.
My message about how we turn this economy around, because it's on life support. We've got to put some fuel in the economic engine, which is the business sector, which is why I have proposed a bold economic growth and jobs plan, 999. And thirdly, energy independence.
The former frontrunner does acknowledge he's losing ground, falling to third in recent polls behind Mitt Romney and Newt Gingrich, a trend he intends to stop.
Not overly concerned, and here's why. Because of the firestorm that I have been dealing with for the past 2 weeks now, to be in third place, we're still up there.
Speaking of that firestorm, he calls the claims of 4 women that they were sexually harassed baseless accusations.
Some of your critics are saying where there's this much smoke, there's got to be a little fire.
His reaction to that question, and the one thing he says many people don't know about Herman Cain, when we share more of our one-on-one interview tomorrow night.
And tomorrow night I will share more of that interview with Cain. He'll talk about why his wife decided to come forward and defend the candidate against sexual harassment claims. Cain's recent troubles are bringing him down in the polls, but he's still slightly ahead in the key battleground state of Iowa. A new survey shows 20% of Iowans likely to take part in the Republican caucuses say they support Herman Cain, with 19% backing Representative Ron Paul, 18% support Mitt Romney, 17% Newt Gingrich. Iowa's caucuses are January 3rd, which kick off the presidential primary and caucus calendar. Meanwhile, less than half of Americans are expressing support for President Obama. A new CNN ORC international poll shows him with a 46% approval rating. That is the third lowest rating in at least 4 decades for a president when he's just a year before Election Day. President Obama's approval rating has hovered in the mid-40s since June. Well, teen pop star Justin Bieber is off the hook. Mariah Yater named him as the father of her baby in a paternity suit. That was dismissed after Bieber said he would take a paternity test and after his attorneys threatened to file their own suit against Yater. Speaking of legal situations, Jersey Shore star Mike the Situation Sorrentino is suing clothing chain Abercrombie & Fitch. Earlier this year, it offered to pay him not to wear their clothes, saying he damages their brand. Sorrentino says it was a publicity stunt that infringed on his trademark image. He wants at least $4 million in damages. I've been shut out again. Actor Bradley Cooper has been named the sexiest man alive by People magazine. The 36-year-old Hangover star says his mom will be really happy with the news. Mine will be disappointed. Next, libraries are turning a new page by embracing new technology. Plus, a man who probably won't win Employee of the Month, his efforts to stop his store from opening on Thanksgiving. And 5 simple rules to some big savings. Let Super Seals help you. Coming up on INN.